Funding of all religious communities including the Church of Sweden. Funding of religious communities takes place through a uniform funding model, the multi-religion stat, which corresponds to the party support. The SST Foundation, which distributes state grants, tax funds, to religious communities, is being wound up. The term state subsidy is also removed, where the state finances religious communities through taxes. The new financing model, the multi-religion stat, is, on the other hand, independent of tax funds. The multi-religion support consists of all the assets of the religious communities, including the Church of Sweden. This means that the Church of Sweden's budget is merged with the budgets of other faith communities. Here, the importance of religious communities being independent and free from tax funds is emphasized. The multi-religion support is a policy instrument that is applied based on the principle that 1. It is democracy that has given all religious communities freedom of religion, and that is why democracy must be introduced in all religious communities without exception. 2. The multi-religion support is only given to the denominations that participate in the multi-religion election, which replaces the church election. In the event that a religious community, for example Jews, Muslims or Christians, opposes the introduction of democracy in their religious communities, these religious communities shall lose the right to the multi-religion support. The question is, how would such a religious community that opposes that reform finance its activities, pay its premises rents in different counties in the future? The assets of the Church of Sweden and other religious communities are carefully accounted for by an audit group alongside the tax authority. The number of members in each religious community is reported as a basis for the number of 16-year-olds and older entitled to vote. Then we know how much a religious community receives in multi-religion support. They must also agree that all assets, contributions, etc. are managed by the Authority for Multi-Religion Stat, which replaces the SST Foundation when it ceases to apply. Also, the Swedish Church Act is changed in connection with this. The exclusion method. The multi-religion support counteracts and prevents anonymous sources from financing religious communities, which can affect their activities. An example we can mention in this context: the rebuilding of the Philadelphia Church, which costs 100 million kronor, at the same time as the Swedish people wonder how a small congregation can afford this and whether there are anonymous other countries that anonymously call for a state of dependence. Another example: why is only Sweden's Christian Council allowed to interfere with but not other religious communities? The role and involvement of Sweden's Christian Council. They write in an open letter to all members of Sweden's Riksdag ahead of the vote on June 18th. Antje Jackelin, Archbishop, Swedish Church, Sweden's Christian Council. Karen Wyborn, Secretary General, Christian Council of Sweden. Anders Arborelius, Bishop, Stockholm Catholic Diocese. Daniel Orm, Director, Pentecost Free Congregations in Collaboration. Benjamin Dioscoros Atters, Archbishop, Syriac Orthodox Church, today writes an open letter to all members of Sweden's Riksdag ahead of the vote on June 18 regarding a possible extension of the validity of the Act 2016:752 on temporary restrictions on the possibility of obtaining a residence permit in Sweden. The church leaders call on the members of parliament to further reflect on the issue and to consider voting no to the extension of the law. The 12th of June 2019. Another example is in war. The property of religious communities is used as propaganda.